You expect a disappearance to announce itself. You expect a fight, a threat, a slammed door, a final phone call that sounds wrong. You expect some visible fracture in the days before a person vanishes. Something you can circle later and say there. That was the moment everything broke. At first, the simple explanation feels almost comforting. Maybe they chose to leave. Maybe they were hiding something. Maybe the people around them just missed the signs. That version lets you believe the world still gives warnings, and that someone simply failed to read them. Then you look at the cases that stay open for years, and a different pattern begins to form. The most disturbing ones are not always the violent or chaotic disappearances. They are the quiet ones. The person goes to work, answers messages, buys groceries, makes plans for next week. Nothing in the visible record appears to collapse. That normality looks like a clue. If everything seems ordinary, then maybe the answer is ordinary too. A private decision, a sudden impulse, an accident on an unseen road. But there is one problem. Ordinary behavior before vanishing does not explain why so many of these cases leave behind no emotional debris, no logistical preparation, no clear break-in routine at all. You start following the small details investigators always return to: the untouched wallet, the unfinished errand, the appointment never cancelled, the pet left waiting. Each one seems minor on its own. Together they suggest a person who expected to come back. That should narrow the mystery. Instead, it deepens it. Because now the question changes. It is no longer just where they went. It becomes how a life can remain structurally intact right up to the edge of disappearance. No farewell. No visible panic. No obvious trigger. Just continuity and then absence. Witnesses rarely save you here. Someone saw them smiling. Someone spoke to them an hour before. Someone insists they seemed completely fine. That testimony feels useful because it confirms the timeline. But it also destroys the comfort of prediction. If nothing looked wrong from the outside, then whatever happened did not need to announce itself first. And that is what makes these cases feel colder than the ones with visible warning signs. In other mysteries, the chaos leaves a shape. Here, the shape is missing. The calendar remains full. The room remains orderly. The digital trail stops without drama. It is not just that the person is gone. It is that reality around them failed to show stress before the break. You begin to realize that this kind of case is not just about disappearance. It is about the terrifying weakness of the signals you trust. You live by patterns. Routine means safety. Plans imply a future. Normal behavior suggests normal outcomes. But these cases expose how little those patterns actually guarantee. That is why they stay with you, not because they are louder, but because they are quieter. They suggest that a life does not always unravel before it ends, changes, or is taken. Sometimes it remains perfectly legible until the final visible second. The story does not fracture first, it simply stops. And that leaves you with the harder question. When someone vanishes without any visible break before the moment they are gone, are you looking at a mystery of what happened to them, or a mystery of how blind ordinary life really is?